Yo, what's good everyone? It's Peak Being here. And first off, I just want to thank everyone so much for all the support that I've been receiving on the channel lately, especially the New World content. I couldn't be any happier. I love that game so much. I had so much fun playing it in the beta, both open and closed. And I'm really excited for the launch, and I look forward to making a ton of new content for you guys. So I appreciate all the support. It really keeps me excited and motivated to keep going. I'm shocked at how much success that we've had in such a short time. I've just started this channel less than a month ago, and the support I'm receiving is just amazing. So thank you all so much. I will continue to pump out content, and hopefully this channel continues to grow. So we're gonna come over here to newworldfans.com. If you guys aren't familiar with this site, I suggest you look it up. It's amazing. They have everything you need if your intentions are playing New World and getting serious about it. You can look up companies, you can look at an interactive map with all the resources, etc. You can make builds, experiment with different types of weapon combinations. They have all sorts of guides and a database as well. This site is absolutely amazing, guys, so make sure you go and check it out. So the class I'm going to be discussing today that I personally will be using once this game rolls out on the 28th, it's the class I used all through, well, most of open beta and all through closed beta, and I'm going to be calling it the warrior class, and it focuses around the bow as the main weapon and the sword as the secondary weapon, the sword and shield. So let's go ahead. I didn't add any weapons to this first off. I just did the attribute points and the weapon attributes. So the first thing I'm going to discuss is, the different, where should we put our points to allocate our points as far as skill tree. I did this a few different ways. I tried putting it all into dexterity and nothing into constitution. I tried doing 2-to-1 dexterity to a constitution, and what I plan to do come launch is, after all that experimenting, I noticed I was doing a lot of damage. However, I had a weakness to great axe players. If I came into contact with a high level great axe, oftentimes 3 swings, sometimes even 2 or 1 swings, I would be down and out. I never had more than, I'd say, 2700 health, and my highest level I reached was 28. So when I move into the main version of this game, my plan is going to be a 1-to-1 into dexterity and constitution. I'm going to be making it equal and then focusing all my armor and gear on raising my dexterity perk. So what I have here on the final tree is we have 100 dexterity, 100 constitution. This isn't including any gear or weapons. So with the first point that we unlock with dexterity, we're going to get the 5% chance of a critical hit, which is amazing. That's good for me as an archer, and that's good for me as a sword and shield player as well. As you see below, there's a lot of bonuses for criticals with sword and shield. And then our second perk that we're going to unlock with the 100 in dexterity is plus 5% piercing damage and 20% haste for 3 seconds after skinning. Now, I guess the secondary perks here, they're cool and all, but the 5% piercing damage is really what is going to help me out a lot as a bow player, as those arrows are going to do an increased 5% as they pierce through my opponents. Now, let's go down here to Constitution, and we can see that our first perk we're going to get once we put 50 into Constitution, which is huge in my opinion, is all health consumables are 20% stronger. This is one that I was missing out on for a lot of the open beta before I finally realized that this perk actually existed. So it's very crucial that you increase your constitution to at least 50 so that your potions can increase their regen rate by at least by 20%. Now, the second perk that we have here that we unlock at 100 points is increase your max health by 10% physical armor. So this is great too, because most likely with this class I will be running medium armor. I can't get away with light because of the shield unless I don't put a helmet on or pants or something like that. So I'll most likely be medium armor, which is obviously not the best for taking physical damage. So an increase of 10% of health based off my armor is really going to help me out if I get into a sticky situation. Now let's go down and focus on the perks that I'll be using for each particular weapon. So for the bow, as you see, I stick 100% on the skirmisher side. There's not really anything on the hunter side that I find valuable. There is increased arrow distance before start of gravity by 100%. That's a good perk. The only thing is you have to spend at least 4 points to get it. In my opinion, that's not worth it to take out some of these perks over here. So right off the bat, let's cover the abilities. In my Q slot, I'm going to have evade shot. Now the reason I have this is, you'll see, I'll talk about it a little bit more. It's sword and shield. It's part of a combo I use, but also it allows me to create some distance between myself and the opponent. And then if you see, once we max this out, not only we're going to get 125% damage, but we leap back 5 meters. So we're going to be putting 5 meters in between myself and the opponent. Now when we get the second ability, the evade shot also knocks back the opponent 2 meters. So now I'm creating 7 meters of space between my opponent and myself, which is good. As I said, a lot of great axes and things like that won't be able to reach me. Now the final upgrade to this is go to distance. Evade shot grants you 5 seconds of 15% haste, which is absolutely, in my opinion, amazing. So if I do get in a situation where it's more than one person or a high level that I can't take out, I can hit my evade shot, get out of there, create a couple 7 meters of distance, and I get a 15% haste that can allow me to GTFO out of there and then head on to a safe spot. Now the second perk that I use, a second ability in my R slot, is going to be Rain of Arrows. This is probably my favorite ability in the bow tree. So basically it shoots a circle of arrows. It's an AoE. Anybody inside the area is going to be affected and hit by this. Now it does 150% weapon damage, which that seems alright. 150% weapon damage to a large radius. That's great for PvE, that's great for wars and things like that. But this alone isn't what makes this ability amazing. You have to combine it with the other two in the tree. So the second one, Rain of Arrows, causes bleed, dealing 85% weapon damage over 12 seconds. This is absolutely amazing. When I combine this with all the other perks in here, you'll see that this is going to absolutely be OP. That it's going to cause a debuff, and then when you add the last one, it also causes a slow. So if I hit them with this, they're going to be slow for 4 seconds, and they're going to be bleeding for 12 seconds. And if you're anything familiar with New World, debuffs are crucial. That means as they're running, trying to get away, they're still going to be losing health from me, and they're going to be slow, so they're not going to be able to get away as fast. Now, the final ability I have is Poison Shot. Pretty simple. You shoot a poison arrow that on hit or lands creates a 3 meter wide poison cloud that lasts 6 seconds, and it deals 10% weapon damage for 20 seconds. So as you can see, this bow build is definitely built around debuffs, and when you combine them all together, it can create some serious damage really fast. So the second ability here for Poison Shot, Poison Shot now does 12% weapon damage per second for 20 seconds. And then the final one, if you directly hit a target with Poison Shot, it deals 200% more damage. Absolutely amazing. 9 times out of 10 you're gonna directly hit your opponent with a shot. I usually shoot the Poison Shot first, that way I can guarantee that they don't see it coming. Either that, or I start off with a Rain of Arrows and then I hit the Poison Shot immediately after. Now let's take a look at the perks that are gonna combine with these abilities that are going to make these ultimately very powerful and almost unbeatable. So the first one we have is Evasive Tactics. After you dodge, deal 20% more damage for 5 seconds. As a bow and arrow specialist, you're going to be dodging a lot. You're going to be taking a shot, moving out the way, whether it's from a fire staff shooting at you, an ice gauntlet, a musket, or if you're dodging out of the way to get out of the way of a great axe, etc. Dealing 20% more damage is crucial. So usually I would just dodge and then shoot, dodge and then shoot. given the fact that I am going to be wearing medium armor, I don't have a roll, more of just a jump left, jump back, and if you combine it with the evade shot, you could jump back, hit the evade shot, jump back again, hit another shot, and you're pumping out a lot of damage in a quick time frame. Second ability here is Catch Me If You Can. This is crucial if you get in a situation where you're out in the wild exploring and a company comes up on you and you get surrounded and you need to get out of there. This is going to allow you to gain 20% haste for 3 seconds. So now you can see if we combine this where I get surrounded by a group of enemies, let's say a group of 3, I hit an evade shot, I'm going to get 15% haste for 5 seconds, not to mention another 20% haste for 3 seconds. So that's 35% haste. I'm going to be sprinting and really fast. I'm going to be unable to be caught if I hit this the right way. Now let's take a look at the other ability over here. If you hit a foe with 100% health, cause 10% slow for 2 seconds. Now you can see how this one stacks with this one down here. If I hit a rain of arrows first and the foe is 100% health, that foe is now slowed for 6 seconds for a total of 25%, which is absolutely incredible. And we go ahead and we're going to combine Dodge and Weave, which also helps me escape. Dodge and Weave gain 10% haste for 2 seconds after you dodge. So not only will I be dodging and dealing 20% more damage, I'm going to be moving faster, making it a little bit harder for me to get hit. Now, let's go over here and check out Closing In. Hitting a foe below 50% health reduces the bow ability recharge by 5%. This is amazing because the bow abilities, they don't take forever to recharge. However, anything that increases the decreases the recharge rate is going to be crucial for you. So if I go ahead and do my typical bow sequence, I'll hit them with a rain of shot, followed by an instant poison arrow. Now they're slow and they're poisoned and they've noticed me. I can hit them with an evade shot, create some distance, start dodging back and forth, shoot them with these arrows. So if I get them below 50%, my bow ability recharge is reduced. I might get another poison arrow that I might be able to shoot at him as he's charging me. You get the gist. I might get another evade shot to get out of there if things get difficult and he's actually tougher than I had imagined. So this is a really good perk. Let's look at another one down here, Hunter's Insight. Hitting a foe with a debuff grants 5 stamina. Now, again, everything here is directly related to my debuffs that I'm going to be inflicting on you with my bow. This is great because I'm going to be doing a lot of dodging, which is going to reduce my stamina. So this is going to allow me to get my stamina back faster once I hit them with a debuff, which is amazing. So I'm going to debuff them and I'll be able to dodge back and forth multiple times. Now let's take a look at this one right here, Archer Speed. Gain 10% haste for 5 seconds when you swap to your bow. This combined with these perks up here, Evasive Tactics, Catch Me If You Can, and Dodge and Weave, absolutely powerful. So I can be in my sword and shield up close and personal with you fighting. Get low health, pull out my bow. I will have a 10% haste for 5 seconds. I can hit you with an evade shot, which will give me 15% haste for 5 seconds. I can hit you with a dodge and then get another 10% haste for 2 seconds. So in total, 12 seconds of haste. I'm going to be running and uncatchable at that point, unless they have a similar ability like Berserk or something like that that will help them get faster. And then we'll go ahead and check out my final 3 abilities here. Mark, deal 10% more damage to foes suffering from a debuff. Pretty self-explanatory. Most of my opponents are going to be slow, bleeding, and or poisoned, so they're going to have most likely 1 debuff. It's going to be very unlikely I hit all those shots. Miss all those shots, so I'll be dealing 10% damage extra most of the time. And then debuff and damage time durations last 20% longer. So that means my slow, my poison, my bleeding is going to be increased by 20% for damage and 20% time. So this class if you're going, and then my last perk right here, leg shot, causes 10% slow for 2 seconds. Again, this just gives me the ability, if I need to get out, I could hit an enemy, slow him down real quick, get some extra debuff points in there, etc. Now, this class is absolutely annoying to go against because you're always going to have a debuff on you. It's going to be hard to catch, and it's also really good for PvE. If you get a mob and you hoard them around, you can shoot them with the rain of arrows, start bleeding them, shoot a poison cloud in the middle of them, now they got poison, and then kind of just loop around with your haste, and you can stay out of harm's way and take out a lot of mobs. In the beta, I was taking out mobs of 10 plus that were 4 or 5 levels ahead of me just by using my bow. It's pretty OP. And in war, it also works really well because you're defending points. So you can just set up a rain of arrows on the point, shoot a cloud of poison at the point, etc. You can use the evade shots to escape enemies if they notice that you're doing a lot of damage to them and they try to sneak up on you, etc. So that's basically the bow build. I absolutely love it. One of the best, in my opinion, is the best way you could build the bow. Now let's hop over to the sword and shield so that we can see how these two are going to go together hand in hand. Now, as you see here, I switched between Swordmaster and Defender. I didn't stick on one side this time, and that's because there's a lot of perks on both sides that I think go well with my bow abilities and bow perks. So, the first ability that I'm going to get is Sturdy Shield. Grants an additional 15% physical armor. This is good because, like I said, I'm going to have medium armor on most of the time, so anything that's going to increase my damage input or the ability to intake damage is going to be great. Now, let's go ahead and focus on the abilities now. So, the first ability is going to be Shield Rush. Rush forward 5 meters, knocking back foes and dealing 125% weapon damage. We link that with on successful improved rush, which on successful hit, all enemies with 5 meters gain 10% weaken for 4 seconds. So they're gonna have reduced damage when I hit them with this ability. And then finally, on a successful hit, all enemies within 5 meters of me are 30% slow for 4 seconds. So just with that perk alone, you can see how well that fits with my bow perks. That's all focused around debuffs, slow, etc. So I could use this class to get a debuff on, switch back to my bow, and hit him with increased damage. So it's really crucial. Not only that, if I ever get into a situation where I don't have the perks refreshed on my bow, and I'm surrounded or in a corner, Shield Rush is an absolutely great way to get through a horde of enemies that has trapped you in a corner. You just kind of rush right through them, and you can reset and start running around. Now, the second ability I have is Shield Bash, which deals 50% weapon damage and stuns the foes in front of you for 2 seconds. Now, you pair that with Intimidating Bash. Shield Bash causes greatly increased threat and 100% more damage. So now we're doing 150% damage. And then we're going to do Concussive Bash, with Shield Bash stun duration is increased for 1 second. So 3 seconds of stun. Again, crucial. So let's say I hit him with a Shield Bash, I switch over to my bow, I hit him with an Evade Shot, or I hit him with a Rain of Arrows or a Poison Shot. You get the gist. Point being, they're going to be stunned for 3 seconds, which is going to allow me to hit some debuffs on them a little bit easier because they're not going to be moving, they're not going to be as hard to hit. And then my final ability on the sword and shield is Reverse Stab, a stab attack that deals 175% weapon damage. You go down the tree, Reverse Stab now has grip, making the attack unstoppable. And then finally, on a successful hit, Reverse Stab, all sword cooldowns are reduced by 25%, which is absolutely just phenomenal. So typically how this would work as far as a combo is I would Shield Rush them, I would then go ahead Shield Bash them, and then I would Reverse Stab them, quickly switch to the bow, hit them with an Evade Shot, hit them with a Poison Shot, or hit them with a Rain of Arrows, hit them with a Poison. You get the gist. There's so much different options you can do here as far as combos. Now let's take a look at the perks that I have here. We already went over the armor one, Sturdy Shield. Let's take a look at the other one that I have on the defender side, which is Final Blow. The third attack in my light attack deals 15% more damage. I do a lot of light attacks with my sword. 1, 2, 3. My last attack is going to have 15% more damage, which when you combine with this perk over here, Achilles Heel, the final attack in my light attack chain causes a 20% slow. So I'm going to be doing an increased 15% damage with my light attack, as well as another slow down ability. So as you can see, there's so many abilities here that are debuffs, especially focused around slow. I can ultimately slow my opponent down for probably up to 20 seconds, which, combine that with my haste abilities, I'll be able to get out of situations so fast and probably most likely be unfound, which is absolutely amazing in my ability. It gives you a lot of mobility, and you don't have to sacrifice your armor by being able to use light armor so you can roll around, etc., because you're going to have increased speed anyways. Now, let's take a look at this perk, Empower Stab. A successful heavy attack grants you 30% in power for 5 seconds. So typically when I use this is if I creep up on an enemy, or I'm behind an enemy and they don't see me, I could wind up for a strong attack, hit it, increase my damage for 30%, and then follow it up with my Shield Rush, Shield Bash, Reverse Stab combo, dealing an intense amount of damage in a short period of time. I also have Precision. Sword's critical strike chance increased by 10%. Obviously, anything that increases your critical chances are amazing. I have deal 10% more damage to slowed foes. As you can see, my opponent is most likely always going to be slowed, so I'm going to have to be dealing 10% more damage all the time, which is crucial. Great. Anything that increases your damage output is, in my opinion, some of the best perks you could have. I also have Confidence. While health is full, deal 15% more damage. Reason being, like I just said, anything that increases your damage more, in my opinion, is worth it. And quite honestly, there was not many other perks that I had access to on this tree that would have made more sense for me. Now, let's go over here to counterattack. When you block an attack, gain a stack of Empower, granting a 30% damage increase for 5 seconds and can stack up to 5 times. So, if I block an attack and counter with a heavy attack, I now have 33% of Empower, or 33% damage increase for 10 seconds. Now you can see how you combine that with all my abilities and debuffs, how I can be outputting a lot of damage here. Then we also have Critical Precision. On critical, gain 20% haste for 5 seconds. Now, I have a 10% chance of hitting a critical, a 10% increase. Now, if I hit that critical, I'll gain 20% haste. So, again, as you can see, another common theme. I get haste, my opponent gets slowed, making me faster, them slower, and my ability to move around and hit shots with the bow or escape a lot easier. And then the last one, my ultimate ability, I went with Leadership. While holding the sword, all group members' damage is increased by 10%. Pretty obvious. I mean, if you're ever in a group, a 10% damage increase to the whole party is absolutely epic. Granted, it's only when I hold the sword, but still, it's still a good ability to have. So, that is my bow and sword ability there that I am calling Warrior. I found great success with this class through PvP, PvE, War, also every facet of the game you can imagine. I feel like this can go ahead and suit you. So I did not put any gear in simply because the gear is going to change, etc. But there you have it, guys. I hope that this helped you out a little bit. I hope you got some insight on how the bow works and how the shield works. I know I see so many different videos and guides that link the bow with the spear, or the bow with the hatchet, or the bow with the rapier. However, I really think the bow and sword and shield is the S tier version of the bow class, considering sword and shield does have a secondary scale with dexterity.